Hi, in this module we'll look at where you can actually run the Figaf tool and what is the recommended approach for your scenario. So we have a few different ways and places where you can run the Figaf tool. So first off is you can run it on a laptop. This is a good place if you want to learn how the tool works and see what the tool does yourself. This is by far the easiest to get started with. We also have a server deployment, and we have BTP where you can also deploy it, BTP Cloud Foundry. This is probably our recommended approach for productive usage because BTP has a lot of advantages. But let's get to that a little later. It is the same code and project that runs all different places. So no matter what you're using, it will always be the same. If you want to learn more about check a look at the following guide to our setup. So the license, to get a license that you need for this, you can go to figaf.com/devops, select on-prem, and then in a few minutes you would receive an email with the license key. We also do have a cloud-based offering. This is good if you want to evaluate how the tool works just for DevOps, for DevOps for cloud integration. It does not connect to your PI system because we do not have access to PI systems using this. So it is good if you just want to test the cloud integration part and see how the tool works for those cases. Otherwise, select on-prems, then you get everything hosted in your own scenarios. And for productive reasons, we do not recommend our cloud, and it is not scaled for production, just for evaluation and trial. Cool. If you get lost, go to help.figaf.com. There's a lot of good knowledge base and articles. There is a page where you can see what's going on, and a lot of different tutorials on how to proceed and what kind of steps do you actually need to do. We also have a good manual that you can find here on that go through all the different steps. This is a long page with all the different settings that we have, easily for you to search through. And we also have the release notes on this one. So for standalone deployment, this will take you 5 minutes to install the tool on your computer. It contains a jar. You need to create a bat file, and then you can actually run it on your server or your laptop. It contains an embedded database, so you don't need to install a database for it to run. We're using the H2 database, which is good, but do not use it in production. It requires a good laptop, probably like 3 GB of free memory. You can probably use it with less, but just to avoid a lot of confusions. It is, obviously, if you run it on a laptop, it is a single user and it does not have a way to interact with other systems. So just for evaluation, this is a good way to do. And obviously the requirements depends on what you need to do, how large your PI system is. Once you're done with it, go to the terminal window and press Ctrl+C to turn it down gracefully. BTP deployment, this is definitely our preferred way of deploying because it takes away a lot of the headaches that you otherwise would be using. For migration, it does require a cloud connector where you can access your PI system using that. So to be able to use it, you need to have entitlements to create a sub account or reuse an existing one. You need to add a Postgres entitlement and a data entitlement, and you need to have a Cloud Foundry runtime. So to have this, you either need the BTP trial. I'm not sure if that still exists. Otherwise, the free tier would also give you that information and allow you to run it in that way. And then obviously for productive reasons, you should be using CPA cloud license where you can add these services on demand. The reasons we recommend this is that most PI developers or integrations team would have access to BTP Cockpit, making it easier for them to manage the application. It contains or uses SAP's user management, so you don't need to create your own user management to work with this. It just simplifies a lot of all the processing that you would need to go through. It has a SSL certificate. You have a database that is managed by SAP, making it a lot easier to manage these things. And then with the Cloud Connector, you anyway need that for a lot of different scenarios, so it's easy also to connect it here. Good. There's also a module on how you connect with the Cloud Connector and set it up, or with the BTP and deploy it and everything like that. Server installation, we do have a Docker version that you can deploy of the Figaf tool. It is actually just a Java service that you can also run in Linux or Windows. We recommend that you do have a database like Postgres or Microsoft database, and that you manage this database yourself, being able to use it in a productive way. We do support user authentication using OpenID Connect, so you can either just get the authorization that this user is valid to log in and then assign the roles in the Figaf tool, or you can use the OpenID Connect to actually send out the roles that you use. So it all depends on how you're managing your users for these things. And obviously, it really depends on what kind of scale you're at, on how many users you want to use the tool with. Otherwise, you can use our built-in user management system also. Do remember that if you deploy this, you need an SSL certificate for the server that is running, preferably Figaf at yourcompany.com or whatever you would be using. The benefits also with the BTP version is that all users, all your contractors will be able to access it. You don't need VPNs or anything challenging. They can all access it via the BTP cockpit. The way the Figaf license works, it is we have a server, license server that your integrations or the Figaf tool connects to. The general way that we license the tool on is on the development system, that if you have a named object in the development system, it is licensed. The objects that we license is ICOs, iFlows, and API proxies. So this is the main name that it would be used, and if you then start transporting this, then it would count. So if you have 100 iFlows in your system, but is only using the tool for one ICO, you're only getting a one ICO count. It is only when you use the tool it will start counting. So either handling a transport, or if you're doing a migration, it will count each ICO or receiver determination as a separate object. But you can migrate it multiple times. You can deal with all of these different things as you